Okie dokie. So to start things off, Lear, Demonic Tutor. So Lear or Demonic Tutor. Huh. There's not really any good aggressive creatures. There's Toralf's Disciple that's fine. I really gotta figure out a more effective way to get cat hair out of my eyes after the cat spends an eternity on my lap. I kind of want to just build a deck around Lear. I mean, Demonic Tutor's like a good magic card, but is it a good magic card in a format with a bunch of mid-range cards? Are we really finding some super disgusting combo? Maybe. Probably. Yeah. Still, we're going to build a Lear deck. How do you build a Lear deck in a cube format where you can't just pile in a bunch of counter spells? Because I'm kind of used to Lear being all about playing Divide by Zero. And we are definitely not playing Divide by Zero out of this cube. Just table tutor for the Lear deck? Ooh, I'd like to. I would like to. Huh. Unburial Rites. I don't think Reanimator is really viable in this. I haven't seen, like... I mean, maybe it is. There's some discard outlets. I have no clue how you'd even start to build that, though. I suspect Lear decks aren't going to be very good in this cube. I agree, they're probably not. Best case scenario, we're going to find like a ton of 1-for-1 removal and hope that's good enough. Like, I'm just going to take Midnight Clock here, which doesn't work with Lear particularly much at all, but is just a good card. So in terms of supporting Lear, the best card in this pack is probably Devil's Play. And red removal spells probably are one of the better ways to... Or actually, no, Perforos's Intervention is probably just straight up better than Devil's Play, if the objective is to be a Lear deck. Alright, let's see how much we can go all in on this, like, blue-red removal. Maybe Grixis removal. I mean, Midnight Clock and Lear both essentially work with the same cards, so our first two picks do lean to kind of a removal-heavy, then we mass restock all at once sort of game plan. We don't necessarily need exactly Lear if we can get more effects that are pseudo-Lear. Do we take multiple choice or Scorching Dragonfire in that sort of a scenario? We could also take Mythos of Aluna if we wanted to try to go into Teamer, but I do not like the idea of splashing green in this sort of mid-range, or, well, Midnight Clock Lear deck, not mid-range. Like Goblin Dark Dwellers, but more going over the top. Not necessarily just cards that flashback, because Goblin Dark Dwellers is sort of a 2-for-1-y card. Lear is like a 7-for-1-y card, and Midnight Clock is like a 7-for-1-y card. Multiple Choice is like the 5th best blue card in the cube. Really? Alright. I'm willing to believe it. I guess it is a 4-4-4. It's probably good. Huh. So between Brainstorm and Magma Opus, I don't think Brainstorm is good. Though there's no fetches. Brainstorm isn't a good card. We take Magma Opus. Magma Opus is also closer to the idea of a 7-for-1. And we can cycle it earlier and then get it back with Lear. Kind of. Like, we can pretend that's a thing that'll happen. It also gives us the ability to pick up a Mizzix's Mastery, which is probably something we want to be doing in this color. Ooh, yeah, discover the formula would be nice. I suspect Geist Channeler probably isn't in the cube. I haven't seen it yet. So there's Dark Dwellers that synergizes with nothing so far. I'm probably just supposed to take Cold Steelheart because mana ramp is cool with Lear and Midnight Clock. And we're not likely to get a lot of color fixing mana ramp. It does not surprise me that Geist Channeler is not in the cube. It's got a pretty incredibly narrow window of decks that want to play it. Oh, when we're done with this draft, I'm probably going to have to go wash my face to try to get the cat hair out of it. Oh, choices. Memory Deluge fills the 7-for-1 role. Thundering Rebuke is removal. I probably need to more aggressively take removal than card advantage, I think. But we'll see how that pans out. Willing to speculate, take the Hallowed Fountain here. Might be that we decide to play Swords to Plowshares if we get that and enough fixing for it. This is all basically garbage. We'll take the red card to force people into other colors, hopefully, although I have absolutely no intention of playing Crash Through. Come to think of it, why is Crash Through a card that's in the cube? There's gotta be better ways to make, red prowess creatures work than Crash Through. Certainly. Right? Is Brazen Borrower a card we want? I think the answer to that's a resounding no. So I'm just going to take the land that technically enables us to splash. Theoretically. Champion of Wits is sort of a 7-for-1, or we could just play Censor. I probably want to play Censor. I do want to play Hieroglyphic Illumination. That's cool. Insult to Injury feels extremely bad, but I guess Cut Red. Goblin Dark Dwellers is theoretically a card we could play, although literally there is one card in our deck currently that it can flash back. Okay, there are no exciting spells in this pack. And yeah, Seagate Stormcaller definitely doesn't count as exciting, so I'm very happy to aggressively pick color fixing here. We are super duper 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 taking the Mystics' Mastery because we've already got Magma Opus. And luckily for me, there's no cards in the pack other than Sword of Body and Mind that I need to consider over that. So thank you, deck. It's probably just Mind Stone in this position. Pact of Negation isn't actually good, right? Neither is Seagate Restoration. Definitely not excited about playing Reckless Stormseeker, and Platinum Angel is very replacement level. Consider is interesting, but Mind Stone's probably better. I never really hate having more ramp if I'm playing a control deck that's drawing cards. I would not mind more removal spells or things that Goblin Dark Dweller could actually target, because currently I have a somewhat limited number of cards that win the game. Fact is good, but really narrow. Yeah, I have to imagine that it's better in formats where, you're concerned about combos killing you, and that's not really what this format seems to be about, generally. Okay, so we could play Thrix. That is technically a win con and sort of a removal spell, and makes Lear and Magma Opus better. Or we could take this Double Visions and copy Magma Opus. So I'm going to take the double visions regardless of whether that's good or not. We do have, like, 3 ramp spells already. So, like, you know, it could work. Double Vision would have come back, but could we really risk that after we didn't wheel the 2 mana, or the 1 mana 2/1 from last draft? I don't know that I could take that risk, personally. Palladium Mirror, I don't think is what this deck wants. I'm not excited about Neutralize, but like literally none of those other cards are exciting. Between Royal Eruption and Inscription of Insight, what's better? I don't think we're getting around to the point where we kick Inscription of Insight. I think I need to take Royal Eruption. I'm not excited about playing it, but I do think I probably need the removal. Skewer the Critics is pretty horrible. I guess I could maybe play Augur of Bolas in this deck. Maybe? Let's pretend that we can play Augur of Bolas in this deck, because every other card in that pack looked bad. But also maybe there was like a non-color land that I could have taken. Stitcher? Stitcher doesn't feel like a very good defensive card, though. And at least Augur kind of defends. I mean, I guess Stitcher is a 2/3 for 3, which sort of blocks. And eventually transforms, but I don't know. Are we making enough lands for that to actually... Are we making enough lands? Are we casting enough spells for that to actually happen in a reasonable time? Young Pyromancer is kind of interesting, but I feel like I'm probably supposed to take Shatter Skull Smashing. It enables us to play 18 lands and is just actively good with most of our cards. Oh, Bubble Snare, what do you do? 1 mana enchanted creature doesn't untap. That's not exciting, but neither is every other card here. I'm still pretty unconvinced Seagate Stormcaller is something we should try to play. I mean, I guess I could try to make Lava Axe work. Maybe I'm supposed to take Lava Axe. I really don't want to take Lava Axe. It's also sort of a... Bane Veil is not an exciting card. I think we just hate draft lands on the off chance that we want to splash, you know? Okay, I'm definitely taking Consider. I think that's pretty reasonable. We have Goblin Dark Dwellers, we have Leer, we have Mizzix's Mastery. We're just actively not upset by Consider at this point. Crush the Weak, I think, yeah, again, pretty decent with Goblin Dark Dwellers, decent with Leer. I think Crush the Weak is totally reasonable. I don't want to play against Esper Sentinel, so I'm not going to pick the on-color card, even though that's not how draft works. It's how my emotions work. If I could hate draft away my opponent's... What was the name of this thing? Esper Sentinels in Constructed, I would. I really don't want to play Skewer the Critics, but maybe that is something that we could do given the option, I guess. Deemworthy is sort of removal, and also sort of card advantage. I'm not really willing to consider Spikefield Hazard an actual removal spell in this cube. I would like to play Settle to Wreckage, but I don't think that our mana is capable of supporting that. So that either puts me as taking Jace, which seems bad, or taking Deemworthy. Oh, this costs 5 mana to cast, not 4. Oh gosh, that's also very bad. Well, we can cycle it and then overload Mizzix's Mastery. It'll totally be fine. That's not terrible at all. It's definitely not just total garbage. Well, we have Ruin Crab and Teferi's Tutelage in the same pack. There is a world in which, if we take Teferi's tutelage and wield a Ruined Crab, we play both. Illyrius. That is a decent defensive card, huh? Maybe that's what we want. We do kind of have a go over the top late game that doesn't necessarily need to be mill based to win. Oh, that's very painful, but you've convinced me that it's right. I'm not happy about it, though. As much as I love Thassa's Intervention and Folio of Fancies, we're just going to pick the dual land. Boat? We don't really have ways to crew that very reliably, do we? Like, I don't even think that card's good at the best of times, and I think it's probably pretty bad in this deck. Oh, we are super happy to take a Magma Quake. Alrin, do you do anything? No, you're bad. Alright, happily take a Magma Quake. You can't play lands or cast spells from your hand, huh? It's about as strong as Glorybringer. But Glorybringer doesn't require you to play other creatures for it to do its thing. Also, I'm willing to debate if Glorybringer is good. I'll have that conversation. I'll die on this hill that that card was overplayed. I'll play Cultivator's Caravan and hope that I have enough card draw. Definitely willing to play a Lightning Strike. I mean, at the very least, we're cutting Royal Eruption for it if needs be. In Cube? Alright, Glorybringer's good in Cube. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Yeah, we'll probably play Disdainful Stroke. That's probably a reasonable Cube card. I can probably cut Deemworthy. I am beginning to be suspicious that just maybe we're a little light on win conditions and I should have taken some of those mill cards. Because so far I have, like, Leer and Magma Opus. I mean, I guess Midnight Clock is sort of a win con. You know what? Alright, I'm on board for Jace. I need a win con. Alright. Alright. I guess I can get to 11 mana and then with Double Visions in play, use Perforos's Intervention to make 2 10-10 or 10-1 tokens with haste. That's a win con. So we have what, 4 mana rocks? I probably don't need the Cultivator's Caravan, do I? When I have like no top end other than Magma Opus. No, we only wield 1 mill win condition. What a world, what a world. I mean, I guess wheeling 2 wouldn't actually be helpful anyway. We'll consider the crab. The crab will be considered. Thassa's Intervention, I'm pretty happy to take, though. I think that fills the counterspell and card draw role. Thassa's Intervention with Leer is actually really cool, because you can still flash it back to draw cards, even though the counterspell mode on it is dead. I think we were supposed to take the Folio? Are we that dedicated to mill being the win condition? My nose is running. I hope I'm not getting a cold. I feel like having picked up Jace means that we don't necessarily need the Folio, right? Maybe we need a win con? I think Folio is a little worse in this cube than some other cubes that are like super heavy mid-range oriented, whereas low-cost aggro seems to be more viable in this cube. Barons would have done it. I don't think we need Barons to go do 20 damage for us when we've got Jace and Midnight Clock. I would like a little more in the way of top end, but I don't necessarily think we need exactly win conditions. Speaking of which, considering that like nearly every spell in our deck isn't Goblin Dark Dwellerable, I guess we're also cutting Goblin Dark Dwellers. Yeah, I'm definitely about to have some sniffles in an hour from now. We'll see how many games of this we can get in before I have to give up. We got 14, 17, 18 lands. I'm okay with that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards that are dedicated removal spells. I can probably cut Censor because I don't like Censor. Are we cutting Augur of Bolas? I do dislike Augur of Bolas. Alright, I'm willing to cut Augur of Bolas. I think that'll do it. Let's roll.